So Anthropic just dropped Claude Opus 5, and Anthropic is saying that it is the best model that they have released in terms of creating games and animation. Also, this model is literally better than Fable 5 while being 50% cheaper. So today we're putting that claim to the test. I'm going to have Opus 5 recreate these 3 games from scratch, which are Geometry Dash, then Rocket League, and to finish it off, the hardest one, Black Ops 2. Let's get into it. Alright, so the first game that we are going to be recreating here is going to be Geometry Dash. As you can see, I am using the new Opus 5 model. I'm just going to change the effort rate here inside of Claude Code from high to ultra code. This is going to burn through a ton of tokens, but it's going to give us the absolute best result possible. So here, I'm just going to give it a prompt, something like, hey, please create a clone of Geometry Dash and make it very good and insane. Alright, so I'm providing Opus 5 with this specific prompt to see exactly what kind of game the model creates. Alright, so after a lot of thinking, as you can see here, I can scroll on and on and on, and it just never ends. The model took around an hour and 20 minutes to create this specific clone of Geometry Dash, and it basically created this. Since it took so much time, I was expecting a great game. Now, I can play it in this small preview browser, but we can also open this game in full screen on our actual browser, so I'm just gonna do that here. After opening it in the browser, we get to see a start screen like this, and it looks quite good. Down below there are instructions. Hold space to jump, click to jump, escape to pause, R to restart, and M to mute. There are also 3 modes here: Pulse, which is the easiest, Circuit, which is normal, and Overdrive, which is the hard mode. I'm just going to start with Pulse. As you can see, the model has actually recreated Geometry Dash completely, and the animations here are pretty good. Not to mention there are a lot of sound effects, and the background music here is also very insane. Let's see how much of the level I can complete. Okay, so I just completed around 36% of the level, and the box breaking sound effect here is also pretty nice. As you can see, this is a highly accurate game recreation of Geometry Dash, which is very insane. Let me just hit escape and go to the menu option here. From here, let's click on Circuit, which is the normal difficulty, and see what kind of score we can get. Now, upon entering the level, you'll notice the color scheme here is much different than the first level, but the background music here is the same. Overall, the game mechanics work very well here, especially with the sound effects and the music. The difficulty progresses very nicely between the different difficulty setting options here. Now, the main difference between these varying difficulty levels is the color scheme. When we go into Overdrive, the hardest difficulty mode here, this color scheme changes again to a much more orangish color. All in all, this was quite a nice recreation. Alright, so now the second game is going to be a Rocket League clone. The interesting thing here is that a previous version of a Rocket League clone, made by Fable 5 from a user named AMWill, went very viral on Twitter, getting over 500,000 views. This is basically that Fable 5 recreation. As you can see, the game is pretty nice. We are going to see whether the Opus 5 clone of Rocket League will be able to make a better game than this. So I'm just going to go back to Claude Code, create a new session, and say, hey, please create a Rocket League clone for me. Make it beautiful. I spelled beautiful wrong, so I'm just going to correct it and see what kind of game Opus 5 makes. Now, it has been over 50 minutes, and Opus 5 is still going. Currently, it is fixing some bug in the game. It has used over 100,000 tokens to make this, and I don't know how much longer it's going to take to finish the whole game, but it's very nice that Opus 5 is working so hard to create it. Finally, Opus 5 has finished creating the game, and it took more than 130 minutes, but I am just happy that it finished. Now, we can't actually see a preview of the game here. That might be a bug, but that's not a problem because we can just go to the folder where Opus 5 created the game and click on the HTML file. Let's open it in the browser and see it working. This is the Rocket League clone that Opus 5 created, and it's called Nitro Arena, a rocket-powered soccer game. It has many modes, like 1v1 duels, 2v2 duels, and free play. There's also a skill selector for the bots, ranging from rookie to pro to elite. We also have a garage garage option here, so let's click on that and see what we get. I think the garage option is not working currently, so I'm just gonna click back. As you can see, the clone is not exactly perfect, but first let's select Rookie as the bot skill and click on Play a 1v1 duel. Now, I think the music and sound effects for this game just aren't working. I've loaded into the game, but I still can't hear any sound or background music, so that's definitely an issue here. Anyway, visually the game looks pretty good, and I think it's at the exact same level as, or maybe even better than, the game we saw Fable 5 create. The main thing here is that the controls feel a bit weird, and the car just isn't handling properly. It keeps flipping over a lot, and the camera work really isn't that great either. Honestly, I have to say this is one of the first truly bad generations I've gotten from Opus 5, since it just couldn't make the core mechanics very enjoyable. The whole experience falls a bit flat because the overall feel of the gameplay is quite mediocre, but I do have to say the physics and design of the ball are very nice, and the base mechanics do work without completely breaking down. Let's now move on to our third test. This is going to be the hardest test for the model, a recreation of Black Ops 2. I'm just going to prompt, hey, make a clone of Black Ops 2 and make it very insane. Alright, that's our prompt. I'm going to keep the effort set to extra because the ultra code takes up a massive amount of tokens, and I will hit my rate limits, so I'll keep it at extra and see what kind of clone the model can create. It took over an hour to create this specific game. Let's actually see what we got. I'll just open it in my browser. This game is called Zero Day Tactical Response Division. There are 3 game modes here: Breach, Skirmish, and Firing Range. There are also options for loadout and settings. I'm going to click on loadout. Here, there are a lot of options for different things I can change, like weapons, attachments, lethals, and tacticals. We will definitely try that out later, but first, let's play the firing range option. Alright, after loading in, you are going to see a setup like this, and honestly, I have to say, it actually looks really good. The mechanics work properly. When I press W, I move forward, and when I press S, I move backward, just like you would expect in any kind of tactical shooter. The gunplay is solid too, the weapon fires correctly, and the bullet animations are surprisingly well done. As you can see right here, the visual feedback on the bullets is great. Overall, it's a pretty nice gun to handle, and there's even a smooth reload animation that adds a really nice touch. Now, when we shoot the targets, they physically react and move upon getting hit, which is a great detail. Over here, there is an interactive orb, and it says, if I press the F key, it will change my weapon, so let's press it. Now we have a different gun. Let's click it one more time, and now we have a shotgun, just like the first weapon. The bullet animations for the shotgun are also incredibly satisfying. There's a small opening up ahead. Once I cross it, I can actually step further into the range to shoot the targets from much closer. Oh wait, there is actually a scope for this shotgun, so you can zoom in, which is a fun addition. Really, the gunplay here is just pretty nice across the board. I also really love the lighting effects in this area. Honestly, 20 years ago, this firing range alone would have been considered a full mini-game, so overall, this practice mode is working flawlessly. So now, let's hit escape and click on the abort mission option to head back to the main menu. From here, let's jump into Skirmish. Right as we load in, you will notice some intense background noise, and the visuals have that same grainy, atmospheric feel. Skirmish mode is basically a team deathmatch. There are bots on my team and the enemy team, and whichever side gets the most kills before time runs out wins. So let's track down some bots and shoot them. Alright, there is one down. The bots here are actually dealing decent damage to my health. They aren't too easy to kill, but they aren't unfairly hard either. It is just the right amount of difficulty, which I appreciate. Hit registration is working great. My bullets are accurately connecting and taking out the bots. Plus, the player movement is completely bug-free. It doesn't feel clunky or unnatural at all. It feels just like any other standard FPS. When I do get taken out, there's a proper respawn animation, which is very nice. The map layout feels very natural and looks great to me. So overall, Skirmish is a really solid game mode. Let's hit abort mission again. Oh, but I will say, the one thing I didn't like about Skirmish was the background music. It just wasn't very good. Now, let's try the third game mode called Breach. But unfortunately, it has that that same bad background music, and honestly, this mode is incredibly buggy. I'm taking damage, but I can't see a single enemy. They are basically just shooting me right through the walls, which makes this a pretty frustrating mode. So out of the 3 game modes the model created here, 2 are fantastic, and the breach mode definitely fell short. Taking that into account, I would give this game recreation a solid 7 out of 10, just because that one game mode didn't work, but overall, this is still a pretty good game. Regardless, Opus 5 is absolutely insane at game dev. I think you would be able to easily recreate any kind of game that you want with it. Now that was about it for the video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.